Hey everybody, I'm Shane Benedict with Native Watercraft, and I'm here to show you all our newest addition to the Native line, the hammer. When we started out working on the design of the hammer, there were a few things that we really wanted to focus on. One was a seamless sort of integration transition from pedaling to power, because it's such a good combination for fishing. The other one was optimizing the hull, so it's super efficient, fluid through the water, and it also supported all that extra weight that all the motors and additional accessories add to the design. So its capacity is massively increased, its speed, its fluidity, and also its performance moving around is really optimized for pedal, power, or any way that you want to move this boat. And obviously in a boat like this, where you're going to have a lot of electronic capabilities, you know, motors and monitors and that sort of thing, you really have to be conscious of wiring. And so we have located a lot of through ports and E-plates in locations where they're needed so that you can do all of your wiring internally. We really feel like we've stepped that up in the hammer. The hammer is also featuring our brand new pedal drive, the X-Range. What the X-Range does for us is it opens up floor space and makes the transition from pedal to power effortless. So now why don't we do a walkthrough. We'll start at the bow, work our way through the stern, and check out all the features of the hammer. Starting at the bow, we've got sort of the classic setup that I've done for many years, is the front grab handle that's also a groove track for accessories. We've also added a tow loop at the very bow for those of you all that are using trailers, so that you can pull the boat up with your trailer winch. Obviously, this is a motor mount that's facilitated by an E-plate right near the front, so we can run all of our electronics internally inside the boat from a bow motor or whatever accessory you mount up there. Then we come back to our classic Native hatch, and kind of a detail that we've started using is this twist latch, which just makes access to different parts of the boat or holding down the thwart for the Propel drive work so much more easily. And that's one of the things we've done with a hammer, is really focus in on just the details that make it a better fishing kayak that's easier to use and doesn't take your time away from fishing. But this bow hatch, this is also kind of this is sort of the brain center. We really focused on enlarging that hatch area so that we could have a bucket, obviously, but a lot more internal storage or ability to access internal parts of the boat, which helps with wiring, obviously, is a big one. But then our battery compartment, which you've seen in a couple of our boats, is also upgraded a little bit. Obviously, we have a strap to hold down your battery located in the center here, but we've also added an E-plate so you feel more comfortable running your wiring internally inside the boat. And you know, everybody's transducer's got that cable that's this long, right? So you wrap it up, and now we've got a cable management system here with a voile strap, which we think is a really cool addition to this. The battery compartment operates basically like the Titan and the Slayer Maxes, with the battery compartment with a transducer pass-through, with your transducer being right underneath the battery compartment. So everything is integrated and operates really seamlessly. A cool new accessory that we've developed for the bow hatch is basically a molly plate. So it's you'll bolt it in place up here, and then you can mount fuses and breakers and your computer maybe if you want to. And the cool thing about that is then all of your wiring is integrated in this battery box and then communicating with the molly plate there. So you've got everything in one place, so it makes all your wiring a lot more simple. And then moving back, we've got another E-plate, and this one will facilitate a captain's bridge or a monitor mounted right up here near the pedal drive. It shows you that we're working really hard to get electronics integrated in all the locations we want to have them. And now that brings us to a really new exciting update for Native, and that is the X-Range pedal drive. This thing is so cool. The first thing you're seeing right here is that it actually folds up out of the way, integrates with the bow hatch and deck of the boat so that it moves forward and increases your floor space by almost a foot. So you've got more room to manage fish or lures, or standing feels more comfortable, all of that because the pedal drive has folded up out of the way. So that's just the beginning. We've also changed how this thing integrates with the boat. When I drop it down to go in, it actually snaps into place, which is super cool. So when you snap the drive into place, then all you have to do is drop this cover in, boom, you're good to go. In our older boats, we had a lot of bungee things that we were working with. And so what this does is it just simplifies that whole operation, makes stowing the drive, getting it out of the way, maybe transitioning to motoring effortless. So you can just open this latch, pull the drive up, stow it. If you want, you can strap it down in place, put this back in. Now you're motoring or paddling or whatever you're doing, that just gets the whole drive out of the way and a lot more easy to use. The drive also has a cavitation plate, just like we had before, but we've integrated it directly into the handle. And another really cool addition on this one is a weed cutter. So we actually have a blade right behind the prop, which if you do draw weeds around the prop, this actually starts to cut them away as you keep pedaling, which is a super cool feature that you actually see on full-on motorboat engines. Then the last one, and this is kind of just a mobility thing, is this actually separates directly off the deck of the boat, and there you are. Super easy to put it in your car, carry it around, do whatever you want with it. We just think this thing made fishing easier. We love it, the X-Range pedal drive. And maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't while I was talking about the pedal drive, but this drive cover is all new too. This is pretty cool. We lowered the profile again, so standing felt more comfortable, but that allowed us to drop this lower in the boat and then add in an accessory dry box on top. So you can just open it up, you can put your, whatever you want to put in there, close it up. Cool little storage area where we didn't have that before. And also easy to operate. Obviously we've got floor padding to dampen sound. On the sides, obviously we've got a whole bunch of rail all around the entire boat, so you can add whatever accessories you want. One of the cool additions we've done here is added the Yak Attack through hull port, which facilitates something exactly like this throttle mount right here. It gives you an opportunity to run your electronics directly where you need to have it. When we move back, you can see we've got our classic Titan or Slayer Max Plano box storage areas. And next we've got the Pivot Pro seating, so you can rotate around, makes it really easy to reach wherever you need to. Over here on this side, you see our steering handle for the rudder. On this side of the boat, I've got an actual storage compartment so you can put loose odds and ends. Lures obviously is one of the things that we most use this for. Under the seat, we have the junk drawer, just like we've had in several designs. Super simple, easy way to store a little bit of tackle right there at your seat, easy to access. All right, moving a little further back, you can see we've got a giant storage area underneath the seat. And this is our large battery capacity storage area. Underneath here, you can see we've got the Low Pro from Newport, which is a big battery. And what we've added into our battery compartment here is another E-plate. So you can go directly from the battery internally, run your power wherever you need to get it, to the front of the boat, the back of the boat. We feel like this addition also just cleans up the whole process of running electronics throughout the whole boat. We also have our flush mount rod holders here, so you can run a couple of rods. We also have the forward facing rod holder for managing lures and stuff while you're in your seat. You can see we've got our classic handles on the side to help you move it around. Behind that is our paddle parks, so you can take your split paddle and keep it stored on the deck. Moving back to the tank well, we've got an extra large tank well. Easily takes a 16 by 16 black pack with a bunch of extra space on either side. Something we've done once before is lowered our bungee attachment down into the tank well so that it really pulls down hard on the black pack or crate that you're using. We do that with the Omni hooks, which put a really positive grip on the crate. And back here at the back of the boat, you can kind of see some geometry you've seen before in native boats. We've got an access hatch here, which helps run wiring, helps us assemble the rudder. And the rudder itself, the spring blade rudder, is in the center as always. And then over here we have another E-plate, which allows us to facilitate a motor on the back or whatever electronics you may want to run at the back of the boat. In the very stern, we again have our accessory track handles that we've done before. And the motor mount itself is actually designed structurally so it can support and help manage the power of a motor pushing the boat around. You can also see that there's screws here. We have accessory plates that you can actually mount there to mount, say, if you wanted to run a motor and a power pole. Can facilitate that. One of the things that's integral to the performance of this boat is the hull design, which we did a lot of sort of tweaking of what we've done in the past with this design, because we wanted to maximize our speed, maintain stability, but then also clean up the water coming off the back of the kayak so it was real smooth through the water. It turns very efficiently, and then yet it still is able to carry the capacity, the weight of all this equipment that you might have on the kayak. And so what I figured I'd do is I'd sort of walk us through the hull bow to stern so you can see kind of the things that we did to maximize its performance. The bow of this boat is the sharpest entry of a kayak I've done for Native Watercraft. And so it's a super sharp entry, and what that means is it's just cutting through the water very efficiently. But yet, we have to increase our capacity quickly because we're talking about putting bow motors on it. So the bow flares quickly to a bunch of volume here that enables the bow to carry a bow-mounted motor. Another thing you might notice while we're here is that I've actually also made integrated handles underneath the bow nose so that when the motor is mounted on top, it can be really hard to get to a handle. Sometimes you end up grabbing the motor mount, but now you also have the option to grab this integrated handle. Moving back, we've got our sort of classic transducer pocket, and you can see the long channels going down the center of the boat. I've widened those channels out slightly and made them round and consistent so that that you can use bunks on trailers very easily. This will slide directly onto a set of 5-inch bunks. Now when we get to the center of the boat, you know, this is the business part of this whole endeavor. It's got to carry you, a big battery underneath the seat, a bunch of your gear, all centered around here. So our volume is increased quite a bit. And something additional to this is our new pedal drive, the X-Range, has enabled us to actually increase our volume in the hull, but also in the floor, which has increased our capacity to 650 pounds. It's by far the most capacity we've ever had in a Native Watercraft kayak. And back here at the back of the boat, it kind of looks like boats we've done before. You know, you've got your classic keel coming into the spring blade and the pontoons tucking in a little bit, but this is where we sort of changed things up, and we wrapped this hull around the back end of the boat right at what most people's water line is going to be, so that the water comes back together more cleanly, so it's more efficient through the water. It's also rolled so that this boat will slide around turns very efficiently. And then the new little twist I've thrown on this one is when you pedal hard or you have a motor, the boat tends to want to sit, is what we call it. So it drops the tail down into the water. And what I'm playing with is reserve volume. So when you drop that tail, you actually run into more volume that keeps the tail end from sagging as much and keeps the boat trimmed in proper level, moving forward more efficiently. All right, that's the walkthrough, the all-new Hammer, and we are super excited about it and hope you are too. Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think. Check us out at nativewatercraft.com and give your dealer a call.